Still feel like we haven't necessarily gotten past the initial emotional hook of reading that diary, which was engaging at the time, and the parable. The diary and the parable were interesting, but I don't think the story has developed since then. Which worries me a bit. Spinning. Okay, this thing's open now, so this was changing over time. It probably wasn't open at the beginning, even if it wasn't progressing over time.
Afraid, I suppose. He became our master and ruled us with a heavy hand. We learned about masters and their weapons. We were subdued, then lost. And Turner, rather than intent on the assembly and completing the mission, became intoxicated with this power. Our angry god. He would command and we would comply or die. His every need. Only one of the arrivals could prepare for the assembly. Our mission was in peril, resting in Turner's distracted hands. I had lost hope.
Am I Turner? I think I'm Turner. But it's just, it's like they're framed as innocent, and then you have this corrupting force, this corrupting power, this person that comes in a colonialist sort of like context feeling thing, and then like uses force. So it feels like Riven and Gen, with Turner being Gen. And our narrator being like, oh god, what is his wife's name? What is his name? Atris's wife. Feels like Atris's wife a bit. We know that the threshold wipes your memory, seemingly. So I'm wondering if I am Gen, since she said that an arriver has to do all of this. So I'm wondering if I am Turner, which is a bit on the nose because the whole way that I interact with things is I turn. Get it? I Turner. You're not a conveyance pod, you're just an elevator. Ooh, it's going in a bunch of different directions.
And then, a plan came to me. An ingenious plan. I refined it for many weeks. I became close to Turner to use him. I made a wall in my mind for my own sanity, befriending the monster for the greater good. I learned much. I wept much. So, after many weeks, I told my comrade Adjunct the truth that I had learned. I knew he would be afraid. He provoked the others, and they all lashed out at me. I convinced Turner to use his weapons to force them into the deep sleep. I told Turner we could wake new ones from the threshold, and I would mentor them to be more compliant as his servants. I gained Tanner's praise with this idea, and his trust. Right up until I sedated him and placed him in the threshold as well.
I figure these are probably just the people that worked in the game.
I was alone, keeping and preparing. Not for days, or weeks, or even months, but for years. Everyone was gone. The embrace could only be awakened, the assembly could only occur, only with the power of an arriver. But now Tanner was in the deep sleep. And you will learn the truth now. The truth of sleep, the truth of the mission, the truth of keeping, and the truth of Tanner, our assembling and ending. The threshold keeps the keepers, the cycle of keepers, blank new keepers to be mentored, the 7-year cycle. But I will not go to sleep. I will keep my memories. I will not forget.
That area got way more, even more explicitly like sci-fi looking. No. Not the suit again. Oh, I do need to use the thing again, don't I? Yeah, I do think that I just am Turner. I also think that once they talk about the deep sleep, they just mean killing people. I'm in space now.
You have experienced the revelation that I had. The grand realms I thought were everything are nothing but firmament, structures. But yet, they held everything dear to me, except my own memories. I have kept those.
So the 3 realms are 3 artificial globes in space on a satellite, flying on like solar sails, which the motif of these solar sails is at the top of each elevator when you climb those things. I hope we're going down. Look at this gold glitter. I guess they must be particulates from the solar sails that are just stuck at our speed, coming with us. They also ended up using this in space. Am I supposed to... Do I want to lock it or unlock it? I don't actually know what my goal is here necessarily. I assume it was already locked, so I want to unlock it, but I think it's beeping at me. Still got this guy. No, I don't. I can't use the hammer because I'm not in fluid, I guess. It's a very pretty environment, but it's also a very large area to not be sure what to do in. Just a great big huge area to not necessarily know what to do and then have to backtrack a lot if you're wrong.
Can you imagine the first time I saw such a sight? I cannot describe what happened to my body. I did not think Tanner would lie, but there's no preparation to face what one has never contemplated, never imagined. I was distraught and opened and offended and freed. I do not have words to describe to you. And now, I've returned here many times, and still, I do not know where the firmament ends. Can we ever?
I don't know what I'm supposed to do mechanically. There's not really anything out here, is there? Did I successfully unlock the thing, I guess? I guess that might have been all I had to do. So it sounds like humanity put people on a space station to maintain some kind of future colony for the sake of humanity or something, and then would wipe their memory and just have them be these keepers that would just maintain this place without knowing that they're in like a tiny false world forever. $1870. But when people did actually arrive, it didn't go well. Okay, that was all I was supposed to do. Sounds like an old printer or hard drive. Whoa. I have no one to share my joy with, so I will write. What wonders! Everything I had known has turned into nothing. My world has been replaced by truth. A word I scarcely knew existed until I realized I needed it. Upon discovering the truth of this firmament initiative, I now find myself privy to a new perspective and what Turner called freedom. Freedom? My entire reality. Have I ever pondered the existence of such a word or concept? What I once believed to be limited to the small realms I lived in is in fact a grander stage, encompassed by infinite cosmos. What wonders? I have been granted the privilege of gazing upon the stars, and as I do, I cannot help but feel this overwhelming sense of small. But this kind of small is a feeling of such joy. I am humble. I am inspired. My tiny world is a minuscule part of a thing called a universe. It is astonishing to think that the entire mission, everything I've ever known and believed, was designed to protect our future and the future of all humans. As I learn more about this grand endeavor, I am filled with hope and excitement for untold possibilities that lay before all of us. This is almost hard to believe or fathom. And yet, my joy is dampened when I think about such a great deception that was considered necessary and done to me. The majestic starship Attelis embarks on an interstellar odyssey. Firmament Initiative ushers in a new era of human ingenuity and optimism. Firmament Initiative unveils secrets of the Attelis' design and its vision for the future. England embraces their new ruler. Indictment of Ohio officials. Brown's Democratic leader accused of paying bribes to elect Lorimer to Senate. Oh god, this is technically legible. It's just very hard to read. Let's lean in there. Paris, May 7th. In a dazzling display of human brilliance and determination, the colossal starship Attelis is torn from the bonds of Earth, making the commencement of a pioneering voyage to safeguard humanity's future. The Firmament Initiative, a grand coalition spearheaded by esteemed visionaries such as Andrew Carnegie, Marie Curie, there's that name again, so we do know this wasn't technically on Earth, but it was from Earth, so the Curie situation was not a coincidence. Nikola Tesla, Konstantin Tchaikovsky, Jules Verne, and Karl Marx seeks to propel mankind into a new epoch of cosmic exploration and preservation. So that's... The egalitarian society is not a coincidence in that point, it's literally created by Karl Marx. So this was an actual Marxist utopia until outsiders came in and then everyone killed each other. The prodigious Ateli, a vessel unlike any other, is designed to traverse the celestial expanses on a multi-generational journey. After over a decade of monumental efforts, the so-called Great Lift triumphantly concluded, using gargantuan rail rifles to thrust 16 million tons of indispensable cargo into the celestial abyss. Bearing the Greek name for incomplete, the Attelis is assembled and commissioned under the unveiling hope the future advancements will augment and perfect the vessel as it journeys through the cosmos. Gracefully propelled by a sophisticated steam propulsion system and massive sunlight sails, the starship Ateli is poised to advance the marvels of technological progress. Within the Attelis, the keepers inhabit massive realms, carefully preserving the ship's cargo. Sequestered and protected, these individuals adhere to a strict regimen, safeguarding their duty's integrity. The groundbreaking threshold sleep chambers sustain the keeper's well-being, allowing extended periods of suspended restfulness. Okay, so the deep sleep is cryo. So they're not necessarily dead. They were like forced into cryo at gunpoint. Newly awakened keepers, having freshly renewed minds, are re-mentored by experienced keepers, ensuring a seamless transfer of expertise across generations. The keeper's unwavering dedication is a testament to the Firmament Initiative's foresight, crucial to the starship Ateli's mission success. So, That's the threshold. So they have cryo, but in this universe, cryo wipes your long-term memory, which is a bit of a problem. The crew, a select group of skilled astronauts, will give their lives to maintain a watchful eye on the unknowing keepers and the Atali. Stationed in the ship's fore, they will be refreshed with new arriving members on rare occasions to ensure the mission's smooth progress. That's the arrival they're supposed to be ready for. As the journey nears its end, a final crew, known as the Arrivers... Oh, so there'd be occasional new arrivals throughout, but then the actual Arrivers are supposed to be the people that landed at the end, because the people on the actual ship, don't know what's going on entirely at that point. So there has to be people trained to actually... how are they arriving, though? Like, how are they getting here later and faster somehow? Unless they're just coming from cryo 2, but no, that because that wipes memories, that doesn't work. Is expected to join the mission. The Keeper's lore has been embedded to inform them of this final arrival, so the Keepers and crew can at long last join in preparing the Adalys for its ultimate destination, a magnificent and welcoming new Earth. Let us all join together in celebration of this historic event as we bear witness to the dawn of a new age of exploration and wonder. With the launch of the starship Atali, humanity takes its first steps towards the stars, and we stand united, ready to embrace the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Godspeed, Starship Atali. May you carry us towards a brighter tomorrow. If I sound like I'm struggling, it's because it's very small. I might have made it bigger on the screen for your guys' sake, but it's very small. This might be a part where VR helps, because you could just lean in more, but I can't. Behold the Starship Atali, a majestic marvel of human ingenuity, embarking on a boundless voyage across the cosmos with advanced steam propulsion, intricate solar sails, and a revolutionary threshold sleep chamber system, housing the valiant crew and keepers on their grand multi-generational odyssey. I don't think I can read. If I tried really, really hard, I could try to read the left column, but it's really blurry. And the bottom part is technically legible, but it's blocked. And apparently we just won't unblock it. This is a letter, this is a newspaper from May 8th, 1910. Let's see, way down here. The Firmament Initiative unveils secrets of the Adalys' design and its vision of the future. As the world marvels at the grand launch of the Starship Atali, we delve deeper into the astonishing engineering feats and the brilliant minds that made this extraordinary journey possible. The Firmament Initiative, a collaboration of success of its mission, its state-of-the-art propulsion system powered by the latest steam technology, allows the behemoth to traverse the vast expanse of space at previously unattainable speeds. The ship's so it's a steampunk ship. That's funny. Composed of highly trained astronauts, will oversee the operations and maintenance of the vessel. The Keepers, on the other hand, will reside within the realms, diligently preserving precious cargo of the Management and waste recycling have been meticulously designed to support the life aboard the ship for the entirety of the voyage. As the Starship Atali embarks on its celestial... That's all we get. Can't see any more. Can't WASD around, can't click around, nope. I was not expecting that extreme of a dump, but there it was. I could have walked past that too. Did I miss anything back in this room? Paper-wise? Now I'm worried. Because none of that stuff highlighted for me at first but the book, but that might have been intentional. Firmament Initiative Synopsis. Revision 77U1, September 2nd, 1972. Ugh, too much reading, it's making me yawn. Not because it's boring, but because of just my breathing patterns get fucked up from reading aloud for too long, apparently. Introduction. Welcome to the Firmament Initiative, a multi-generational, multinational, privately funded endeavor designed to preserve and secure the future of humanity through interstellar exploration. Your participation, dedication, and service to this monumental mission is acknowledged and appreciated. Classified. Please note that due to the nature and duration of this mission, this information is exclusively for the crew's perusal. Keepers must remain segregated, concentrating on the preservation of the cargo without distraction. It gets hard to... There's like a gray and like smudginess that makes it hard to see the spaces. This font's awful. I think this is like... this was authentic, but oh my god, this is an awful font. This is Courier, I guess, technically. It's like Courier with awful kerning and word spacing. Founders: Andrew Carnegie, Marie Curie, Karl Marx, Nikola Tesla, Konstantin Tchaikovsky, Jules Verne, Starship Attlee. Background. Phase 1, The Great Lift. Phase 1 centered on sending crucial Earth-based elements, minerals, flora, and fauna into orbit. The founders utilized their considerable resources to launch massive projectiles into orbit using 12 colossal rail rifles situated at various mountainous locations on Earth. Between 1895 and 1907, over 6,000 containers of cargo were transported into space, totaling more than 16 million tons, including technology for the assembly of the Starship. In 1910, the mission commenced when the Attlee gradually accelerated towards a nearby star system via rudimentary steam propulsion and solar sails. Phase 2, the augmentation. The Attlee initially possessed very limited acceleration capabilities. The mission's design relied on future advancements in space technology to enhance the Starship during its journey. The founders correctly anticipated that future technology would be able to catch up with and upgrade the Attlee, potentially redirecting it to a different star system if a more suitable one was discovered. The timing and frequency of such augmentations were uncertain, but attachment and docking ports were incorporated in anticipation. Phase 3, the embrace and the arrival. The Starship Attlee features artificial gravity generated by the vessel's rotation. To create the required gravity, cargo remains are positioned further from the center of rotation, resulting in a structurally weaker vessel susceptible to stress during intense acceleration. Consequently, the ship was also designed to retract and secure the cargo realms during periods of high acceleration. That's the embrace. At the top of each elevator, we saw 3 capsules draw in. So we were using those towers to draw each of the chambers inward instead of where they were. They used to be further away, and we made them closer together in the embrace, and that's why it's ready to accelerate. So we're about to accelerate towards something, like we know the new destination or something. It was expected that this would only be necessary deceleration for arrival or for the final upgrade providing... Alright, I guess deceleration would also be true. If we're arriving at our destination, then that's a form of acceleration. That would be bad for the ship. An anticipated thrust. The Keepers were prepared for these events with a narrative combining the arrival of trained personnel required to engage the embrace and the actual arrival of the Starship Attlee at its final destination. Personnel, the Keepers. Acknowledging that a journey to even the closest star system would take centuries or millennia, the founders designed the ship's maintenance to be performed by Keepers. Keepers reside in large cargo realms, rotating in and out of sleep chambers that enable them to live for the mission's entire duration. The sleep process gradually purges memories, starting from the most recent. As a result, Keepers are limited to a maximum sleep duration of 12 years before being awakened and retrained. Mentors facilitate the retraining process by passing on their knowledge and preparing for sleep. So that's the 7-year cycle we heard about, since 12 was the maximum. They were doing 7. To minimize social complications among Keepers, a tightly controlled and rigorously managed protocol was established. Keepers are not informed about the mission's nature, and are instead taught that they exist within 3 small realms, comprising their entire universe. Questioning was discouraged, and all necessary answers were provided through strict cultural indoctrination. Brutal. The crew. A small group of trained astronauts is accommodated at the ship's fore. The crew's primary responsibility is to remotely monitor the Keepers and ensure the smooth operation of the mission during launch and subsequent upgrades. The crew has access to threshold suspension chambers, but their usage is limited to approximately 1 year. Suspension periods exceeding 2 years pose memory loss risks, which could compromise the crew's effectiveness. Consequently, the crew members are expected to live out their lives in support of the mission. It is the utmost importance that the crew remain separated from the Keepers to prevent interference with the Keepers' strictly dictated culture. The only exception to the segregation is the Arrivers. The Arrivers. As the mission progresses, it is anticipated that the frequency of upgrades will increase due to advancements in space travel engines and speeds. The first stages of the mission will likely occur rapidly, necessitating the arrival of a final crew known as the Arrivers. The Keeper's lore predicts the arrival of this group, who will require access to the realms to prepare the ship for acceleration and deceleration. Only members of the crew, specifically the Arrivers, are authorized to prepare the starship Adderley in this manner. The lines are so long that every now and then I get mixed up on where I'm returning to when I go back to the left and like, wait, hang on a minute, I'm on the wrong one. Note: detailed information and specific procedures for all aspects of crew tasks and protocol can be found in volumes 1 through 22, the same duration as B-Stars, of the Firmament Initiative Protocol and Procedure. Digital versions are available on Disc A2. Ah. Search crew name Turner. Multiples found. Turner. So Arnaldo S. Turner, Louis Dharma Turner, Marie D.T. Turner, Susiana Turner, Wiley Barra Turner, Wiley Barr Turner, and more. Sorry. Louis Dharma Turner. So it goes for a while, and then it gets to Lewis, and that seems to be the one we're talking about. Employment history. 2100 to 21... Wow, this is 200 years later for them, then. Ensign Class C, Nexus Protectorate Corporation, Karachi Incorporated Division. They worked there for 5 years, then for the next 10 years, Corporate Security Officer, Firmament Industries, Eastern Field Storage. Then for 7 years, with 5 of them being the same time period, Lieutenant Junior Grade, Firmament Industries, Incorporated Military Police, Ensign Class C, Space Force Division. Then 28 to now, Ensign Firmament Industries, Incorporated, Security and Amelioration Duty, Cruise Ship Nikola, Lottery Draft, Atelier Recon and Augment. Carceral record. Bias Motivated Offense Level 2, 3 terms served. Insubordination Level 1, 2.4 terms served. Misconduct Level 3, 9 terms served. Contract Breach Level 4, 1 term served. Lottery Draft. They got somebody that had a long history of belligerence and not following rules and insubordination and drafted them into being the person responsible for one of a multiple century long space mission completing correctly. I think I might know where they might have gone wrong somewhere with their corrupting force character. Whoopsie. Oh, these are where the crew were. These are their pods. Hello. There's that place. I can't talk about what it is, giving away the twist, but there was a really interesting story I encountered once where there was a crew of people that were specifically on one of these kinds of trips, like to make a new Earth colony to forever. And there's people who were like born on that ship, and it was like that horror of knowing you were born on a station like this that will one day reach a new habitable planet, but you will not survive to arrive at the new place, and you also never got to experience the original place. You just only exist in transit as a person. And the fucked up thing is that in that story, they turned out to still be on Earth the whole time. So it was all an experiment about the idea of what that would do to people without actually doing it. But they were still doing it. They weren't spending the money on the mission to actually do the mission itself, but they were actually doing that to the real people, because the real people that thought they were on it. So it's like I'm thinking of that because we're on this right now. And it was not the same thing, but it was people who lived their entire life under a lie for the sake of a space mission. I also had that part where while I was playing Anachronox, this kind of story inspired for me, a mental note. And I wanted to expand it into a piece of fiction, but I never really did. And it's been a couple of years now, at least now, I think. But there was just the idea that, like, whenever you go on a space mission, like, any long space mission is kind of terrifying because technology advances so quickly. It's like, I'm just imagine, like, I had this mental note of, like, the idea of traveling throughout space to an incredibly distant location that's a habitable planet, but while you're on that voyage, while you're on that voyage, the people back home advance technology and society, I guess, at the same time, so rapidly that they just have massively faster ships eventually. And so they eventually just send a different mission to the same place and beat you there by, like, decades or even hundreds of years. And then, so when you arrive at your destination, there's just already a human society there, and it's a human society of the future that is, like, advanced so far beyond your understanding, even so it feels like you're an alien, even though you've arrived on a human colony. And I in particular, I had the idea of, like, having people have different backgrounds where, like, all of the individual humans had specific baggage or problems or fixations or even, like, gender identities and so on, and, like, how advancing to a completely different society would either aggravate or solve those characters' problems in a way. Like, it would, like, like for example, like being in a more accepting society for example, and those kinds of, like, changes that could happen to someone. Never really necessarily came out with an overall, like, plot. But it'd be fun to play with that idea a bit. You know, just add fiction writing to one of my 500 hobbies, include on top of writing essays and doing this and drawing. Yep, so this clears that up, is that I was drawing the three things together. That's why they're all chody up there and jammed together. They used to be separate originally. Interestingly, I saw these arches. I saw the arches at the beginning of the game in a diagram and thought that I was making sense of the, like, oh, it's a bunch of legs that'll reach up to these arches, right? But eventually, I think it became clear that I was looking at a diagram for a harvester, in part because I think it had, like, 6 legs. And by the time we got to, like, it's become pretty clear at this point there are only 3 arches. So that thing that I saw that looked way more spidery must have been a harvester. But I was using it as the basis of my understanding of the arches for a while now. Yeah, the motif of this solar sail has been the chandelier in each elevator. The visual through line is cool. I feel like this narrative is undercooked in a frustrating way. Like, I think that the setup and payoff of the reveal is cool, and realizing what you were doing all along is cool. But I would really have liked more characters, like more notes from different people and what they went through. I feel like the main character introduces an interesting hook at the very beginning about how she was, about, like, you get this vague sense that, like, her life was a lie and she didn't survive, and she's now guiding you to finish this mission for her. But there aren't, like I liked reading the journals from her, but there's only 2 in the whole game unless I missed something, and there's no word from any of their characters so far. And I think that if they filled that stuff in more throughout, then the, like, actual, there would have been more of a hook to the narrative throughout, and it would have just been more compelling moment to moment. Because it kind of feels like there's a setup, and then like 10 hours of busy work, and then a payoff at the end. This was probably an 8-hour game. And more hook would drive things forward and make the busy work more compelling. But also, I do think that the puzzles themselves were a little disappointing this time around, where some of them were just so time-consuming and slow and involved, and in some cases just not really like a payoff. It just wasn't really worth it. That's a weirdly slick tube. That's just a weirdly slick-looking tube. But yeah, I'm enjoying the sci-fi reveal. Here's the pods for the crew. Is Turner in one of these? That's an X. Does that mean they're dead? Are all three of these people dead? I know it's like the finish, or it's like the material or the paint being just caked on. Like it just is a shiny surface, but oh my god, it looks so weirdly lubed. Unnerving. Oh my god, this is beautiful. Ah!
Biosignature confirmed. Turner, Louis Darnell. Earth equivalent date.
Called it.
2231-3-17. The United Earth Space Agency sends its sincere gratitude and greetings, Ensign Turner. Mission protocol requiring your presence and approval is now satisfied. Thank you for your preparations to Firmament Starship Atlas. No further human intervention is required. All additional assembly, preparations, and flight control will be handled autonomously by me. Final full engine upgrades to Starship Atlas now commencing. Stand by for space folding and transport to the Tau Ceti system.
I might have missed a note, but why was I necessary though? Like, does this system not just have systems that allow it to retract its things on its own? Why did I have to do that? That just seems like a design flaw. This is a beautiful bridge, though. It's so cool. Where'd he go? Old engine upgrade in progress.
I was never given a choice. The firmament protected, restrained, and used us. You understand that now?
Oh, hello.
And I have not given you a choice. I placed you in the threshold 7 years ago. You slept and forgot. I sat alone and remembered. You woke up, I lied to you, and used you. You see how it feels? You arrived and pulled back the curtain of this monumental illusion for me. Now, I thought I knew so much, but you astonished me with how small my world was. And as you held my awe, my veneration in your hand, you closed your fist around us. We were like children, and you tore our small world apart. I have thought of this moment often as I waited. I wish I was alive now to see your face. There is a part of me that hopes you are enraged. Oh, it's not reasonable, I know. These violent thoughts never get us very far. You were our god. And then, you were our monster. Do you feel some kind of remorse now? Can there even be atonement without choice? It doesn't matter. At the very least, I used you to provide the way home for the keepers. My comrades, my family. But now, maybe you can do more than just the very least. One choice remains for you, and I will not beg a man such as you, but I will ask. Do something good with this second life you have been given. Remember the keepers, those you looked down on and mocked, those you erased. I forced you to travel their path, to learn their names, understand what they accomplished. Miracles.
You didn't.
And you? Now you have become the most important keeper of all. The keeper of all these memories. You sit on the verge of the awaited destination. A new world, a new home. When you arrive, you can choose to tell the stories that only you now know. You can tell the tales of the keepers of this grand spaceship. How we worked so hard to save all of this, including even you. Adieu.
I balked at her saying that I had to learn their names.
Starship Atlas has now been upgraded and is fold engine enabled. Prepare for acceleration and full jump to the Town City system. Any questions you may have will be answered upon arrival, which will occur in approximately 7.4 hours. New life awaits you and your fellow Atlas comrades on planet Firma. Thank you for your service to the Firmament Initiative, Ensign Turner.
The planet Firma, because we're meant for Firma. We're firmament. Ha. Hello. Developed by Cyan. Interestingly, it's kind of the same note that Abduction ended on, where there's this big build-up to, like, the final moment of, like, the execution of the plan where everything comes together. Was there 3 worlds in... Was there 3 worlds in Abduction? I think there might have been 4 worlds in Abduction that then, like, sort of combined. I think that's how it ended. Did it?
nothing will end. We never truly die. Like a spark of energy cries for life and ignites. One day we'll realize that all worlds must collide.
Supporting Cyanist. Whoa. You're right, because it's a Kickstarter project. Okay, I think it's safe to say that this song is out of lyrics to be worried about talking over. I have really mixed feelings. There's definitely some puzzles I would like to replace with something else entirely, but the game's beautiful and the beginning and ending are really solid. I wish that what she said was more true, that she said that I had to learn their names and all that. Like, I did walk the path of a keeper and gain some level of understanding what they were doing, and on some level, like, I kind of do appreciate and I'm amused by the idea that, like, it is amusing that she essentially, like, made me do this out of spite. Like, purely out of spite. This entire game's plot happened out of spite. Oh, there's another bug in the credits. Every now and then in the credits you can see weird vertical boxes, and it's because some kind of character is not supported. I keep seeing it around people's... Yeah, it'd be like name, box, some other name, box, last name. So it's quotes. Quotation marks don't work in the font or whatever's rendering here. So every single quotation mark in the credits is bugged. Some of these people's thanks are in code. There we go. Now I'm safe. Yeah, overall, like, this was Yeah. That's my final thought, I guess, is it's kind of mixed feelings. It could be better. There's just puzzles I would like to replace that I don't think add to the experience that much. And they fit the narrative in that she's spitefully making us do what they had to go through. So it's like, here's this shit. Wow, you want to clean toilets now, motherfucker? Here you go, clean toilets for 2 hours. That's what it feels like when you have to do the ice vent for that long and you just can't tell where the next one is and so on. The bugs are unfortunate, but mostly I think that the narrative just doesn't have enough to it. Like the different characters, like if we had like notes and audio logs from like Turner and other characters, and like the conflict was more spelled out in a way that was like had pacing to it. That's what the thing is. The narrative needs pacing. It needs to have like structured sort of acts that have a series of like revelations and so on. I don't feel like there are steps to the narrative. I feel like there is the setup and then there's just the payoff at the end. And then in the middle it's just a lot of a admittedly compelling character being very vague and talking in very vague terms and hinting at stuff, kind of, but not really going anywhere until suddenly they drop all of you on you at once. In particular, I'm reminded of BioShock Infinite, a game where most of the plot happens after you stop playing the video game, and it has like, I think it was like a 10 or 15 minute like semi-interactive series of cutscenes that drops the entire plot on you all at once. After having not that much advancement for a while. This was more severe than that, because this game, yeah, you solved the last puzzle, as I said. I had the creeping feeling of like, I think this ice thing might be the last puzzle, and it was. And then the entire plot is just exposited at you via notes and dialogue all at once at the end. Which, like, I get why you'd have to have that reveal there, and it might be comical to have people speak in really vague terms about, like, without, like, it's bigger than you know it is, or something, and like having some arguments and some kind of audio log without actually being without ever saying out loud, we're in space, this is a space mission, damn it. Like, it'd be funny to ever have to write a character like Turner to not actively say the obvious thing, but it is arguably so obvious that he wouldn't necessarily specify that in a lot of contexts to him, like himself. But overall, I don't have a problem with the plot. The story that they were there to tell was worth telling. I just think that they didn't execute it super well throughout the experience. I also would say that like this was a cool indie puzzle game, but I don't think it had like, it didn't really feel like it was continuous with like Cyan's like identity and personality. Like, if you didn't tell me this was a Cyan game, I would not recognize it as being a Cyan game. And there is a debate, there could be a debate about whether or not I would with Abduction. Admittedly, there's some telling things, like when they say things that are literally in-universe references to the Dunny, and they speak their language at one point in the greeting message, and then they specifically have this insistence on still using like two-dimensional FMV videos of people. I mean, people recognizing the founder of Cyan in the game would definitely give away that it's a Cyan game. But I can't go back and really question whether or not I would have clocked Abduction as a Cyan game, but I don't honestly think that in the ocean of indie narrative walking simulator / puzzle games that I've played for like the last 10 years, both good and bad, I think this just slots right in with enough of what I've seen over the last decade as being consistent that, like, I don't think anything speaks to me as being specifically as being by Cyan in a way where once upon a time it would be unmistakable that you were obviously playing a Myst game, for example, and a game in that sort of continuity. And like if you think about it, like nowadays, like you would potentially clock like, okay, this is a game by From Software and this is a game by Supermassive Games. Like there's like a kind of personality to them. I don't think that this really recreated it, and it might be because at this point so much time has passed that what a company even is by definition is this like ship of Theseus thing where like everybody's kind of swapped out anyway. And so how much the original team is involved and how much the original team that is around is even the same people anymore is so up for debate after 30 years. That yeah, it's like the idea of like when I think about like how the Pixies are making new albums now, which is honestly, the Pixies are from a similar time scale as this game, as Cyan, I mean. The Pixies were on hiatus for like 20 years, and then they came back and immediately replaced their bass player with a different bass player, and then I think they replaced that bass player with another bass player, and but Kim Deal herself was a creative like influence in the band, but also the lead songwriter and lead singer of the band has been doing another band for 20 years and then came back. And so I'm just not I've been afraid to listen to Pixies music ever since they came back, because I'm not convinced that they would be the Pixies anyway. So it feels kind of pointless to even check. And on some level there's that fear of change. I made that sound way more negative than I meant to, like, because being not Cyan does not mean bad, it just means not feeling quite like Cyan, if you know what I mean. You can make a good thing and still not be noticeably the same identity and personality, basically. That's the vibe I get anyway. But anyway, this has been Firmament. Thanks for watching like always, guys, and I'll be back next time, whenever that is.